Right. Well, good morning, dear ones. We are SOTU, and this is SOTUesday for the 27th day of September 2016, and welcome to a new world. Well, every day is a new world for you. Every day is a new opportunity to begin again. Every day is a new opportunity for many, many things. And so let us look at opportunity and let us look at the dynamic of energy that is occurring in your world right now. It is the morning after the great debate, and it wound up being anticlimactic in many, many ways. Excuse us. And so you must look at the dynamic, and you find yourself in a state of mediocrity. Some of you are feeling elated, some of you are feeling downtrodden, and some of you are feeling nothing at all. But the truth of the matter is that things are moving and things are changing exactly as they were intended, exactly as you intended them. Now, we had a session last week and spoke with a group on Friday evening about the dynamics of the consensus reality, and we think that that would be our best subject for today, is to understand how the consensus reality reflects the dynamic of the personal negative ego. And we would like to explain to you, because so many in your world ask us about the dynamic of the light and the dark and positive and negative. And from our perspective, it is all just energy that exists within the dynamic of duality. And as you move more and more into taking your own empowerment, more and more into understanding how it is and why it is that you create the reality that you do, you can begin to make changes along those dynamics. But we would wish to tell you that for many thousands and thousands of years, you have been, what shall we say, you misutilizing your creative abilities in many ways that allows, what shall we say, energy to move from the dynamic of the individual self, from the creative self, and be put out there into your world in many ways that represent an almost what's the word that we shall use? At the very best, a very confused picture of your reality. And that is because there are so many beliefs and judgments that you put out into your world that basically say that I am not in charge, and they are built upon the dynamics of and the beliefs of not enough, and we can go into the deep psychological reasons for things, but they're not really necessary when you understand that your reality is reflecting a manipulated dynamic of reality. If you consider that you as an individual react emotionally in any number of ways during a given day, and how much of those emotions do you take responsibility for? How many of those emotions do you understand? Well, if you don't take responsibility for them, where do they go? They go out into your world. If you blame others, if you blame yourself, again, these beliefs and judgments, this cacophony of energy that you are projecting every single day. The confusion within you reflects to the confusion of your reality. Now, you have to understand that the negativity, all of the dynamics of energy that you have abdicated responsibility for, that you have blamed others for, that you have, what shall we say, projected outwardly into your world, well, that will form together into the dynamics of belief systems, that will form into the dynamics of, so many in your world talk, oh, there's demons and there's archons and there's this and there's that. Well, dear ones, they're only a reflection of the dynamic of your own personal negativity, your collective negative ego, the consensus reality. If you do not judge it, if you if you begin to understand it, you can begin to not create a dynamic from a more positive reality, but to understand that the dynamic of your reality exists within a paradox of light and a paradox of dark. And there are truth and there are lies in both ends of the paradox. And when you begin to understand that, you can truly begin to create in the very positive way that you were intended. You can truly create a world with enough for all. You can truly create a dynamic where each of you has a fair start, where each of you has an equal start in the dynamics of your reality, and therefore can create a whole new paradigm based upon cooperation, based upon compassion, based upon understanding, based upon a dynamic that allows you to be more, not to constantly be in a position where you are diminishing yourselves. Well, we realize we've been on a rant. And those of you who know who we're looking at will understand why. But we also wish to tell you that things are moving and changing very rapidly. That rapidity is not going to change. It is almost like, the dynamics of reflections of the consensus reality moves much more slowly than the individual reality. And so many of these things that we talk about tend to manifest much more slowly than we speak about them. But again, if you examine the dynamic of the emotional state that it brings you in beforehand, then you avoid having to actually deal with the eventuality in many circumstances. We have been asked many times over many years to make predictions about the people's futures, about their upcoming dynamics, and we can certainly read the energy of where they are in the moment, but you also all must understand, especially in the dynamics of prediction, especially of those of you who are taking more and more responsibility for creating your reality, you must understand that as you move forward in these dynamics, that you become so much more, that you create a whole different paradigm for yourselves, that the more responsibility you take for your reality, the more mastery you can begin to move into, the more you can begin to understand the reflections of the duality, the reflections of the consensus, the more you can understand that there really is not any good and evil. There is only the dynamic of positive and negative that you as individuals and you as a species have created. Which means, dear ones, you can change anything. And so we wish to tell you that as you begin to move forward, as things are beginning to shift and change more rapidly, as you move more into October, as you begin to read the reflections of what perhaps is going to occur later today, and until we speak to you next week, stay objective. See if you can begin to see a pattern in the reflections of your reality. A pattern that reflects to you who you need to be. It's more than who you wish to be at this point as individuals. It's as much who you wish to be as a species as any question. We love you, dear ones. We love you. And so until the next time we close, sending you peace, sending you happiness, sending you joy.